Okay, up next, it's Paul Greene. Hello, Paul.
Hello, hello. How you doing,
Hey,
Donna?
I'm doing great. How are you? Welcome
I'm
to our gigantic new phone on the set. How have you been?
look at that. I've been really good in the mountains and in like a baby honeymoon bubble with our newborn. So we're like
Ah,
not seeing anybody and just sleeping. Is a really good sleeper. So I'm actually quite well rested for a new dad.
that's fantastic. So when he first came into the world, right, which was the 12th of December,
Yep.
12/12 of 21.
Yeah, it's
What
good.
a great birth number.
Lots of really nice numerical. I'm wrestling with my shirt because here's an issue. If I
Yes.
do this button up,
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like myself. I feel too conservative. But this one almost goes down to my belly button. So we're just going to go with how I feel the best. But I'm looking at it on your big phone, and it's like, does it ever end? Does it go down to his navel? Maybe.
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 Hey, you know what? Anything goes on this show. It's all
That's
a matter of come as you are and be comfortable and it's conversational. So it's funny though that you say that because buttons are always like an interesting thing, right? Especially for guys. It's like how much is I don't know.
I
But
know.
you also have some bling. You also have some bling on. What are you wearing today, Paul? What is that?
Well, I've always had turquoise. My friend
Okay.
gave me this 5 years ago, Laurent. He's also just an awesome friend and photographer. This is a thing I got at a flea market a long time ago. It's a chief with turquoise. And this, a friend picked up in Arizona for me with turquoise. This was a gift, and this I found at a thrift store.
Very
But it's all
nice.
all turquoise. I wear this like the last 7 years. I wake up, I put this on. This has just kind of been my thing. But just, is it okay I'm not wearing pants?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, this is a G-rated show, so just don't stand up. But you're from Alberta, Canada, right? But
Yeah.
now you've been spending time a lot in the States. What
Yeah.
made you, come on over the border?
When I was in college, I was at Red Deer College on a volleyball scholarship and studying marine biology when I went to a bar and a modeling agent named Kelly Strite, who actually found Tricia Helfer and Jason Thompson. They found a lot of models then that are also now actors. And right from the area I'm in, there's about 10 that became. Patricia was a supermodel of the world for Ford, and he sent me around the world. And as soon as I got into Europe, I was doing commercials, and every day I was on set, I was so happy. Like with a moving picture, modeling was okay. It paid well, and I got to travel to I think 75 countries or something.
Wow.
But it didn't light me up. Like there was no mental game. There was just like take care of your body, show up on time and do a great job. Whereas acting, there's a lot of studying and you get to experience what it's like to be other people's, what it's like to be another person and then tell their story, which the first time I started doing that, I really loved that. So it's been a journey around, but when I was 16, actually, I woke up on the farm because I grew up in a farm in Alberta, on set in my dream with Jean-Claude Van Damme in a martial arts movie. So at the next day, I found an acting school in Edmonton, which is the nearest city, and a martial arts studio. And I just started training my body, put myself in acting school at 16, and stopped eating sugar because I wanted to look like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
You know, it's funny that you said that, but my entire television show was divinely gifted in a dream too. I woke up. I mean, I never felt like I was pretty enough to be on camera. I always thought my nose was too big and I didn't like the space between my teeth. So I spent years behind the scenes. But December 28th of 2008, while I was sleeping, I saw this. And it's
Wow.
insane when you're able to manifest that and you grow up and you just like, I don't know what happened, but here I am, right? So I believe your story 100%. So now have you got to act in anything with him yet?
With Jean-Claude? No, I haven't. I haven't yet. I haven't
Okay,
yet.
let's manifest that. I think that
But
needs to happen.
funny about dreams, like growing up watching Alyssa Milano in and what's his name? What's his show?
Joe
Not Full
Pesci?
House, but
Yeah, Who's the Boss with Tony
who's the
Danza.
boss?
Right.
Who's Tony Danza, right?
Yep.
So Alyssa Milano, I grew up watching. Obviously, The Wonder Years, Danica McKellar,
Oh,
and then
yes.
Full House with come on, not Lori Loughlin, but Candace Cameron. So all three of those girls I've worked with Alyssa Milano and Lori Loughlin and Candace Cameron and Danica McKellar. But like, and it's so interesting to think, like as a young boy, right? I obsessed about Alyssa Milano. Like, I mean, young boy, teenager, not a young boy. But the first time I fell in love was watching ABBA, and I saw the brunette singer from ABBA, and I remember being like 5 or 6, and I literally froze in my living room, and everyone else was dancing because they were playing Waterloo or something, but I looked at her and I just fell in love. And then the next time was Alyssa Milano, and then of course growing up, Lori Loughlin's character on Full House, I was quite attracted to as a teenager for sure. But I've worked with all of those women in different things, which is so interesting to think. I grew up in the most remote, tiny little farm community of 3,000 people, which is Millet, and then Wetaskiwin has about 10,000. But I grew up in the countryside.
And here you are. But now you're kind of in the countryside. You got snow behind you. Where are you now?
This is California, but
Okay.
at 5,000 feet above San Bernardino, there's a lake called Lake Arrowhead, which is then on the other side is Palm Springs and Idlewild and the desert. So it's this really unique mountain, and Big Bear's up here about an hour away. And Lake Arrowhead is this gorgeous thing that we get to spend. We bought up here just before the pandemic in 2018. And boy, are we glad, because we spent the entire lockdown here, and up here there was 0 cases. So we were like on our boat and swimming and hiking and even in the grocery stores during the worst part, nobody was wearing masks up here because there was no cases. So it was I was so grateful to be up here, and wrote a lot of music up here. I started doing these live streams of my music during the very beginning of the pandemic on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram for my fans that were stuck at home. And since then, I've done 350 concerts live stream.
And you sing, and you've actually played at Carnegie Hall too, right? For Kate Winslet, you do like a charity type of thing. So you're like a triple threat. Do you also dance? I don't know. Do you dance too? Because you sing, you act.
I had to take tango lessons for a David Kelly show called Wedding Bells. So I've taken some dancing lessons, and our volleyball coach in college made us take ballet to be, and I was a lifter, and some of the guys wouldn't do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. There was really beautiful girls in ballet, and it made us more agile. And, I grew up in sports, and I made fun of the people in theater, like not made fun, but they were also the guys who smoked and the girls who smoked cigarettes and listened to weird music. And I was a jock. So I'm like, I'm not going to, I would sneak into my theater class through the back door. I wouldn't enter the smoker's door, like, because we had the jock's door and then the headbangers and the theater heads door. And I would go through my door, which is the sports side, and I would sneak around to my theater classes because I didn't want to be associated with cigarettes and, Metallica, I guess, at the time.
So you've done 100 commercials. You've been in more, I believe, I don't know if this is correct. Have you been in more Christmas holiday movies on Hallmark than any other male lead? Is that
There's
correct?
an article that just came out, and they added them all up, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to beat Andrew Walker, because he's like, I think he's done 20 plus movies, period. But they counted my When Calls the Heart Christmas movies, so that pushed me up to 9 of the Christmas movies. So yeah, it's a pretty short time frame. I think I started with Hallmark 7 years ago, and my first movie was with Danica McKellar. It came as an offer because one of the Bart Fisher at Hallmark saw me in a TV series I did called Bitten, where I was the only straight guy. Everyone else was werewolves and killing each other, and I was like this very Hallmark like boyfriend of a wolf. And he reached out, and then I got to work with Danica. And then as soon as I landed in LA, they brought me back to do my second movie with Candace Cameron, which is called Christmas Detour. And then another movie with Danica McKellar, and then Lacey Chabert, who is somebody else I grew up watching. I not grew up, but like knew that she was on some of those movies, Party of Five and stuff. So I'm so grateful, because Hallmark's like almost like the old studio system, where with Cary Grant and Clark Gable, they would like have their actors, and then they would put
Yes.
them with their women, and then they would do it again if it was a success, and they would and to have consistency as an actor, and to have done 5 years of When Calls a Heart, as well as however many movies I've done for Hallmark, is such a blessing as an actor to know you're going to be able to provide for your family through something that you just love doing, like that.
I still have a bow. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, so I'd gone to Kansas City to the Hallmark, thing that you can walk through. And I have a handmade little blue bow from Hallmark, and it still hangs on my tree every year. It has grown to be a network, and it just stands for something. It's a brand that stands for a lot of goodness. And you also wrote a song that was in their project, and now you've got this other song. But you have something before we wrap up. You have a song, a single right now of music that's coming out.
Well, I just released a record that I recorded in Nashville called "Long Way Home," and the single that most people know is "Waves of Time," which is from an episode where they just had it in the script that my character had his guitar and sang a song to my love interest, but I'm like, I want to make a whole song, and so I wrote and performed a verse of it on When Calls a Heart, and then finished the whole song and then recorded it. And the album came out December 3rd. I'm really proud of it. It's called Long Way Home. It's a very country, very much where I grew up in Alberta, that kind of music. So it's very much back to my roots. And my dad, who passed away 7 years ago, this would have been his dream album because it's got pedal steel on it, and it has a very country western kind of a sound to it.
I'm glad that you're here. I love your turquoise. I love your jewelry. I think you're just a really cool, down to earth, awesome guy. So Paul Greene, happiness to you.
Thank you.
And it's been fun. And I just want to ask you before we wrap up too, of those 100 TV commercials that you did, anyone stick out for you personally?
That's well, this is really awkward and funny and strange because yes, one does.
Okay.
So do you know the TV show Newsroom?
Oh, yes.
Yes. And Olivia Munn was in one of my acting classes back in the day with Sandy Marshall, and she was on that show when they were trying to cast a character for the Newsroom. And she turned on the TV and saw me late at night on an Amazon commercial. Now, the story behind the Amazon commercial was I had gone to, we were in the Caribbean somewhere, I can't remember the island, shooting this Amazon commercial. And we shot for 3 days for Kindle. And on the very last day, the last hour, they're like, we're going to do an alternate take where you have a husband. And so no big corporation, this is what, maybe 7 years ago or even more, 8 years. And nobody had done a same-sex marriage commercial. And so we did one take, and that turned out to be the commercial for Amazon. So it made a huge splash where the girl who was my love interest for 3 days, she turns to me and she's like, do you want to grab a drink? And I'm like, and she's like, my husband's at the bar. And I'm like, so is mine. It was like a joke kind of.
Got it.
For the Kindle. And that's the commercial that Olivia saw late at night. And then I went in the next day to meet, with Aaron Sorkin and all those great writers on the Newsroom and their casting department. And I booked the role on Newsroom because of this commercial. So I'd say that commercial, because it was such a groundbreaking commercial, but it also got me Newsroom, which who knows how many other things the Newsroom has got me. So there's a lot of cool commercials along the way, but it really showed me that I wanted to be in moving pictures and how unfulfilled the still pictures was of my first 15 years when I was modeling and dreaming of being on a set and with the cameras and moving picture.
Well, you're certainly more than just a pretty face. So I'm glad that the still is now three-dimensional. So Paul Greene, thank you so much for joining us. And best of luck to your newborn and to your lovely wife and to your whole entire family.
Thank you. And same to you. And congrats on your dream coming true. And to anybody watching this, pay attention to those dreams and write them down. And they're because Paul, Let It Be was given to Paul McCartney in a dream, the entire thing. And he woke up with the melody and the concept of it and wrote it about his mom. I thought Let It Be was about Mother Mary, but his mom's name is Mary, which is all came to him in a dream too.
it's an amazing journey that we're on. And you're right, we are so blessed. We are so lucky. And we want to encourage our audience at home that if we can do it, if Paul and I can do it, you can do it too. So thanks again, my friend. Okay, take
Thanks,
care.
Donna.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.